If you've been sitting on the sidelines to buy a home waiting for the housing market to crash, or you're a home seller waiting to sell until prices go up, then you're not alone. Every week I hear from people saying, I'm just going to wait. I hear Boise's overpriced by 30%, and this market just doesn't make any sense. Rates are high, prices are too high, and it's bound to crash again, right? And then from sellers on the opposite side, I often hear, hey, I'm just gonna wait until next year when the housing prices go up. But let me ask you this, what would actually cause a housing market crash right now? Most people don't really know, and they just feel like things are expensive and definitely uncertain. So something has to give, right? But here's the reality, a crash actually already happened in Boise, and that's exactly what we're gonna break down in this video. Whether you're thinking about buying or selling here in the Treasure Valley, I will walk you through really what's happening with mortgage rates and why home values in Boise have already bounced back, and what you absolutely need to know if you want to make the smart move right now. Hey everyone, my name is Curtis Chism. I'm a local real estate expert here in Boise with eXp Realty, and I specialize in helping buyers and sellers make data-driven decisions, especially in a market like this. Let's dig in. So let's start with a big question on everyone's mind, and that's mortgage rates. As of today, rates are about 6.75%. They've been bouncing around 6.5% to 8% since mid-2022. So we're almost 3 years into this high rate environment. And a lot of people are waiting for rates to drop before they make a big move. But I was recently in a mastermind with Leo Perea. He's the CEO of my brokerage, eXp Realty. It's a publicly traded company with over 90,000 agents globally. Leo said something really important. We're probably not going to see mortgage rates move more than 0.25% in either direction over the next year. That's from someone with a front row seat to what's happening in the housing market, and it's really important to pay attention to. If you're banking on rates to drop 1 or 2% in the next 6 to 12 months, probably not going to happen. You're going to be disappointed. There's also a common misconception that the Federal Reserve, or the Fed, controls mortgage rates, but it doesn't. See, the Fed, they set what's called the federal funds rate, which affects things like credit cards, HELOCs, and auto loans, but mortgage rates move based on investor demand for mortgage-backed securities and the 10-year Treasury yield. Let me give you an example. Between September and December of 2024, the Fed did cut interest rates 3 times by a total of 1%. So mortgage rates should have dropped, right? But they didn't. They actually went up by 1% during that same time period. Why was that? Because the bond market wasn't buying the narrative that inflation was under control. Investors got nervous, yields rose, and that pushed mortgage rates higher. So if you're waiting for Jerome Powell to fix the mortgage rates, it's just not really how it works. Mortgage rates are based on complex global factors, not just the Fed. So let's talk about prices here for a minute. Here in the Boise area, we already went through a significant market housing correction between mid-2022 and 2023. Home values dropped by 20%. That's not a small dip, that's a real market correction. And those prices have fully recovered now. Depending on the neighborhood, we've either gained back that value or are very close to it. And here's the kicker, this rebound happened with interest rates staying high the entire time. So if you're sitting back waiting for a crash, you may have already missed that perfect window. So what now would need to happen for the market to crash again? Surge in foreclosures? Probably not gonna happen. Most homeowners have tons of equity and locked in rates under 4%. Or maybe a massive wave of job losses. Well, Boise's job market is pretty stable and diverse. Maybe an oversupply of homes? Definitely not. In fact, we're underbuilding nationally. There's just not enough homes being built to meet long-term buyer demand across the country. And here in Boise, we're actually in a better spot than most places. Builders in the Treasure Valley have done a really great job of managing inventory and balancing supply with buyer demand. They're not overbuilding, but they're also not pulling back too far. So that's helped keep the market stable, especially as demand remains strong. Now, if you're a buyer, here's the takeaway. Waiting could cost you more than acting now. Let's say you're looking at a $500,000 home today at a 6.75% interest rate. If you wait a year and home prices go up 5%, which is certainly possible, that same house would now cost you $525,000. Meanwhile, let's say rates do drop 0.25%, your monthly payment barely changes. But now you're in multiple offer situations again, losing out to cash buyers or waiving inspections. And right now you can still negotiate. Sellers are offering concessions, there's price cuts, builders are offering rate buy downs, closing costs, and even upgrades. And remember, you can always refinance later, but you can't go back in time and buy a house for cheaper. Now let's shift to sellers, because this market absolutely affects you too. If you're listing your home and expecting results from 2021, you're going to be very disappointed. Buyers today are more cautious. They're hunting for value. They want a deal. If your price is even slightly off, they just go right past it. Here's how to win in today's market. You either need to be a diamond or a deal. To be a diamond, your home is flawless, clean, painted, staged, repairs all done. It looks like a model home. You can list it strong, but it still needs to be priced 2 to 5% below the lowest comparable home in the neighborhood to create urgency, or you need to be a screaming deal. If your home needs some work, that's fine, but it must be priced aggressively to attract attention. If you overprice it, it's gonna sit for weeks or months. You're gonna get low traffic. you're going to need repeated price drops, and you're going to end up with less than if you price it right at the beginning. Now, if you're thinking of selling and want your home to be a diamond, I can definitely help with that. I offer a certified pre-owned home program designed to make your home stand out. It includes some pre-listing home inspection, help with repairs and prep, professional photography and staging, and premium online marketing. Buyers feel confident when they know that a home has already been inspected and cared for, and that confidence turns into better offers and faster closing. This market, standing out matters more than ever. But here's the real truth. If you're a buyer waiting for a crash or a dramatic rate drop, that could really backfire. The crash already happened, definitely a correction, and rates just aren't really moving much. Prices are on the rise or certainly stable. Now, if you're a seller, you need to position your home properly or you'll miss your window and leave money on the table. Either way, the real estate market is not broken, it's just different. You don't need to guess your way through it. You need the right strategy based on data and local expertise. Now, again, my name is Curtis Chism with eXp Realty here in Boise. I work across the entire Treasure Valley, including Meridian, Eagle, Nampa, Caldwell, Stark, Una, and Middleton. If you're thinking about buying or selling, let's connect. We'll create a custom game plan that works for you in this market, not the one you wish we had.